It is great to be here with you this morning. First of all, Phil, thank you for that very, very kind introduction. And Liz Schuler is great to work with in Washington. It's so nice. I've seen her more times at the airport on a plane to Wisconsin and other places around the country. I just want to thank Liz again for all she does to help our movement out so very much. So thank you, Liz. Put my phone out so I keep on time. But I just want to say, I've been very fortunate. Since I've got to Washington, I've been able to work a lot on the issues that are most important to me. And labor has always been one of my passions. How can it not be when you survived the Wisconsin uprising, right? When you've experienced what Scott Walker's done to our state, and having been a nearly 3-decade-long member of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. I saw Jeff Murkoff and everybody like this. There we go. It is a pleasure to be able to do that work now in Washington, D.C. I currently serve as the Labor Council co-chair for the DCCC, which is the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. And I do a lot of the outreach to our unions. And just walking in to see all the different shirts, the different logos and unions, I saw CWA. We helped lead members walking in the strike with the Rise to Strike recently. Got a dozen members of Congress to join into that. The UAW, we helped soliloquy on the floor to talk about the striking workers in Chattanooga. Bricklayers, any bricklayers here today? Bricklayers, we had a hearing in the Education Workforce Committee that I serve on, where we got a U.S. Chamber of Commerce attorney who thought somehow trying to regulate silicone and what it does to people was a problem. He said, sand, there's sand everywhere. Well, we schooled him and made sure everyone knew he was a tool and fought back a Republican effort to take away an important rule by the Department of Labor. And of course, the biggest labor issue I think we have in front of us, without question, is the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the job-sucking, wage-depressing effects of that deal. I have been able to do a lot of these with all of you in your unions across Washington, D.C. and with other members across the country. And I've been very, very happy to do that. And maybe a lot of that has to do with growing up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. UAW Local 72 was kind of the dominant union when I was down there. But back then the labor movement was about getting good family-supporting wages, being able to make sure that you could send your kids to college, take that family vacation, maybe have a camper or a snowmobile or a boat, but you had a good quality of life. And we seem to have lost that, especially under people like Scott Walker. These attacks on unions, they've done specifically and purposefully to try to take away that power from the people, the many, and bring it really to the few. And I think, Paul Wellstone, Senator Paul Wellstone from Minnesota, probably put it best when he said, we all do better when we all do better. And that really has been the collective motto, I think, of the union movement, is that we know that when we can have our voices together, whether it be on safety standards or on pay or benefits, working conditions, we are going to make sure that everyone has a better quality of life for their family. And unfortunately, all too much of that has been lost. And it's not just people like Scott Walker in Wisconsin. It's the governor of Michigan and Ohio and Florida and all these other states where they've done similar attacks, making it harder for working people to be able to try to get ahead. And as we know, the economy, while it's largely come back, wages have been dead flat. And we need to do something about that. And the Trans-Pacific Partnership is the exact wrong antidote to that problem. If we go down that path, you will have more jobs leave Wisconsin, leave the United States, and you'll see our wages further depressed here. And we have to do everything we can to stop that. So one of the big open times that's going to happen is the lame duck session. I know you're going to be talking a lot more about that. The key operative is, I don't care if you're for it or against it, although you should be against it, you got to agree that we shouldn't take a vote up in the lame duck session. That, I think, is a bare minimum for anyone. And then let's let a new president put together a trade deal that works. Because none of us are against trade. But what does matter is who writes the rules and who benefits from the rules. And that's what's so wrong with the Trans-Pacific Partnership right now. It's just going to hurt too many working people. So I am just very glad to be here for my few minutes I had. I do want to say a lot is riding on November, and you're going to hear this over and over. But trust me, having served in Congress now, having seen this firsthand, there is no question that who has that White House is so very, very important. Just watching, it's not just the Supreme Court picks. We all know that, right? You always hear that's going to happen. It's the executive orders. It's when Barack Obama signed an executive order that raised the minimum wage for federal contractors and subcontractors. That's 22 to 24% of the nation's economy with a single stroke of a pen. It's when the Department of Labor does a rule that raises the pay for millions of workers through raising overtime pay and finally bringing it to where it should be. That affects millions and millions of people. And so when you have executive orders or rules that all come through the White House, who is in that spot couldn't be more important. And I can tell you, Donald Trump may talk a good game on trade, but he is about as honest and real as his skin color seems to be on that bright orange tone of Donald Trump. When he produces his goods in China, he brings his workers in from Poland. He is not someone that's going to have our backs when it comes to trade, and we have to make sure we take that White House. And we have a great chance to bring Russ Feingold back to the U.S. Senate in November. And the road to the U.S. Senate and the House of Representative majority is through Wisconsin. If Russ Feingold wins, that's one of 4 seats in the Senate. We need 30 seats in the House. There are 4 seats within 4 hours of where we are right now, and 1 in Wisconsin, up in the 8th Congressional District. Tom Nelson, I saw some steelworkers here earlier. Tom Nelson and Russ Feingold across the finish line will have done more than just about any state in the country to help change how things are operating in Washington, D.C. So thank you so much for having me just here.